Make eye contact with me, please, like a man.
Wow.
People who
Wait, so you acknowledge that I'm a man? I
have-
thought that you're like this trans activist.
I am a man, and you are a man, and
Well,
you will look me in the eye like a man.
I could see that you're a struggling individual. I do have to ask a question, though. What is a woman?
I did not ask about that. I'm not a woman. I don't care. I wouldn't know. I'm asking you about
I got
trans
it, but
men.
what is a woman?
This is your
Okay,
gotcha point.
better question.
You are
What is a
moving
man?
the flag post.
What is a man?
I already am a man. You sit like a queer.
Do you have a raccoon tail, by the way? Was that what I saw?
Why can you not respect the existence of trans people?
If you mean lying, I won't lie. But every human being is made in the image of God, and so they deserve human rights.
It's lying to... I'm confused. What,
It is a lie to call somebody
by
a sex,
pronoun that they prefer.
to call them a pronoun that is not rooted in reality. Let me ask you, can anyone become a woman?
It doesn't have anything to do with me, so yes.
Okay, look, if a biological man came next to you in your dormitory or locker room, would you be okay with that?
If they came next to me.
And started
yeah,
changing next to you.
Sure. What does that have to do with me?
A naked man comes next to you in the locker room and just starts saying, hey, how you doing? You have no issue with that.
If it was someone that identified as a woman and they weren't hostile towards me, no, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, so there is a mental delusion out there where people think that they are 12 years old. Should we affirm that?
No.
Okay, so then if we don't affirm that mental delusion, why should we affirm the mental delusion where men who think they are women or women who think they are men?
Because there's a power, like, problem with age.
And there's no power problem between men becoming women? Or going into locker rooms or winning female trophies or winning female sports?
There can be, but it's all about people being comfortable and being respectful.
You see, this is where we have a difference. So you look at the world through trying to accommodate the comfort of the oppressed. We look at the world through right and wrong, moral and immoral, and just and unjust. We don't care about making people comfortable. We care about what is right. We care about the protection of women. Should we agree that 14-year-olds should not be able to get gender-affirming care?
No.
You think they should?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I think they do.
In today's society, many people have redefined love as an unconditional or accepting force that overlooks important truth in favor of tolerance or personal preferences. However, true essence of love, as demonstrated by Jesus Christ, it is not a blind acceptance of all behavior. No, but rather a love that is rooted in truth, in righteousness, and the desire for what is best for others. That's the difference. When we say truth is love, we mean that true love involves sharing truth, even when it's difficult to hear, because it is ultimately in the best interest of the person being loved. You see, genuine love does not enable harmful behaviors or false beliefs. Instead, it corrects, it guides, it leads people towards what is righteous, what is just, and ultimately bring them closer to God. That's the aim. Jesus exemplified that love, this love, throughout his ministry, telling the truth in ways that were sometimes challenging, but always loving.
Should we agree that 14-year-olds should not be able to get gender-affirming care?
No.
You think they should?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I think they do.
Are you the Society of Pediatric Endocrinologists? Are you the AMA? Because they disagree with you.
Just because you don't have the title doctor does not mean that you can't see witch doctor practices from afar. There is no medicinal value of giving a 14-year-old girl who might be going through a phase, who's probably going through puberty anxiety, irreversible drugs, and breast removal surgery, and saying that this is all about gender-affirming care.
No one in the United States under the age of 16 gets breast reduction surgery. They do have access to hormones, and there are medical benefits to that, primarily the decrease in anxiety and suicidality.
First of all, that's been disproven in the Cass report. I don't want to pick on you, but you got to explain to me, what is a woman?
I think it's anyone who identifies as a woman.
No, but then what is the term? It's like saying a tree is a thing that is a tree. That's circular reasoning?
I think it's literally just that.
No,
I don't think it has to be that deep.
That's not
okay, how would you define it then? To understand where you're coming from.
As humanity always has, which is an adult female with XX chromosomes, right? Not tough, not difficult, not overcomplicated. My 2-year-old actually could say, woman, man,
Okay.
woman, man,
Men?
woman.
Why do you need to know that? Why does it matter if you call them a man or not?
Hold on. So we just gravitated from that. This is what it is to why does
Okay.
it matter? Let me tell you why it matters. Because we are being forced to lie on a daily basis and affirm people's mental delusions. And we refuse to lie.
In a godless society, this dynamic is even more evident. People spiritually disconnected from the truth of God can become blinded by their emotions and worldly perspectives. The absence of a strong moral foundation rooted in faith leads to a hardening of the heart. And without guidance of God's wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, and understanding, individuals may become increasingly resistant to the truth, unable to see beyond their emotions and biases, and their hearts will grow hardened when it is not softened by the transformative power of God's love, God's word. You see? And this will lead to spiritual blindness. Literally. Ladies and gentlemen, in a society, individuals may become more consumed by their own feelings, whether anger, fear, or evil desires, rather than seeking clarity and wisdom that only logic and truth can provide.
I'm advocating to give health care to all human beings, born and preborn. I am advocating to give health care to all human beings.
Is abortion not health care, though?
No, abortion, if your health care is killing people, it is not health care.
Why do you think that everybody has to follow your ideology that you live?
I think that
not everybody is Christian. That you don't have the autonomy to tell everybody how to be.
You do not have to be a Christian to know that killing children is wrong.
But that's what your ideology is based on. I don't know why you came from. Not everybody is Christian. Not everybody's going to see life the way that you do.
You don't have to be a Christian. It's
but
science.
Who do you think that you are to tell everybody else how they should think?
I think absolutely we should be telling people it is wrong to kill innocent human beings. Why does your ability to live without your mother determine your value?
Because at that point it's a parasite and not an actual.
No, actually, in order to be a parasite, you have to be two things. You have to be a different species from your host, and you have.
Literally.
You have to be a different species from your host. I don't care what you guys believe. No matter what, if you get two human beings together to reproduce, you cannot reproduce anything other than a human being. Number two, in order to be a parasite, you have to be actively harming your host. And in pregnancy, I don't know about the ladies out there, but our uteruses do not exist for just us.
Virginia is a blue state. We don't want you here.
Okay.
We already voted against all of this.
And Trump
we
won,
don't
so.
want you here. You're not welcome.
Okay.
Get off campus. Get off campus.
It's the loving leftist people.
This is the inevitable result when emotions clash with logic. Logic will always prevail in the end. Light always wins over darkness. However, emotions being driven by deep feelings and personal attachments often resist the rational truth, sanity. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean emotions by their very nature. They can cloud judgment and lead us or a person to act impulsively or irrationally. Yeah, that's the truth. When we allow our emotions to guide our decision making, they can override our ability to think clearly and assess situations logically. That's the danger. Yeah.
There's a man over here that's been yelling degrading insults at me because clearly the pro-abortion movement is so pro-women.
You're sitting here going, well, guess what? Trump won. When something bad happens to you and you don't have access to what you need, I don't want your cakey ass face saying shit about it, bitch.
What are you trying to say right now?
Your makeup's fucked up. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're cakey, bitch.
So are you calling yourself pro-women and then making insults towards women? I would never say something like that.
I'm pro-women that are fucking smart.
I am pro-all women. I am pro-all women, whether they're born or pre-born.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm very neutral when it comes to
pro-life and pro-choice, and I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel when it comes to people that basically, for me, I was 13 and I was molested from the time that I was 9 to the age that I was 14. I didn't know that I was pregnant, but I was pregnant and I miscarried the baby, and I was actually denied by 2 hospitals near where I live, and I only live 30 minutes south from here. You were denied like a DMC? I was denied any type of help in general when it came to that, because obviously I was young and they claimed that they didn't know what was going on. How do you feel about people being denied? Also, 17. Sorry, can I address that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to stay on topic. Yeah, I'm so sorry, first of all, what happened to you. That's terrible. We offer resources. Okay, get in line. I'm trying to have a conversation with a woman here. And I'm very sorry for what happened. We actually offer resources if you need any help. But I will say in that situation, the doctor should have given you that care. There's no pro-life law that ever prevents that. It's very clearly a case of terrible doctors, and I'm very sorry for what happened.
So do you actually believe that it should be banned completely or by the states? Because being
federally?
Federally, because being banned completely would actually mean, like, under any circumstances at all, you cannot have an abortion. And my mom, she already had me, and she got pregnant, I say around 30-ish, and she was told that, like, her health was at risk, and my mom wanted to keep her baby, but she could not keep her baby, and it really took a mental toll on her. So I feel like, how do you feel about things like that? Like, how would that work if there was an actual, like, medical full-wide ban and people cannot get help?
Yeah, so if there was a federal pro-life law, which I do think that there should be a federal pro-life law, because the Constitution grants a right to life, which means no state should be able to take away a child's right to life. If we passed a federal pro-life law, it would never force women to die in pregnancy. It would have that exception there to allow women who are in health risks, and that's what we're seeing in all the states right now. It would mimic the state laws that's happening right now. There's no state that prevents that treatment. If a woman is being not allowed treatment, it's because of bad doctors, and I agree that there are a lot of terrible doctors out there. I will say that there are some studies that show that you can still get pregnant on birth control, and then it can harm the baby.
Yes.
But that's obviously much different than taking birth control to kill babies. That's not a thing. Like 99% of the time.
Yeah, but most of your camp would absolutely say
And I
that.
also,
Hold on. I'm not trying to ban birth control.
Shut the fuck up. We have Republicans speaking in conversation.
We are supposed to be out here as civilized people. She is allowed to feel the way she feels, the same way you are.
You literally.
Look, man, I really don't give a fuck how she feels.
Everyone's allowed to feel how they feel. Do not cancel, because I feel too shit about it. I wouldn't get an abortion.
How do you feel neutrally? How do you feel neutrally?
And this is what you cause. This is what you cause. This is what you cause.
I just said I wouldn't get an abortion.
Okay, but if you're talking to the lady that wants to ban abortion for everybody, okay, but if you are giving her the light of day,
She's trying to cancel me. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not trying to cancellation. It's not fucking real. Oh my God. Are you?
I hope you're getting all your footage for all your TikTok lives, selling out people's humanity. I hope you get all your footage, because this is what the destruction that you caused.
The hardening of the heart is a gradual process that occurs when a person or society rejects the truth in favor of emotions or desires. This resistance of truth or to truth leads to a distorted understanding of the world and ultimately to spiritual blindness. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when people are unable to recognize the deeper meaning or divine purpose behind life's experiences, when emotions take precedence over logic, it becomes harder to understand the truth that is rooted in God's word. You see? In such an environment, individuals may prioritize fleeting emotions and momentary comforts, missing out on the lasting peace, lasting hope, and understanding that comes with embracing logical truth actually, and divine wisdom. Moreover, far-left media outlets and the dominant liberal narrative often rely on emotionally charged rhetoric to appeal to the feelings rather than the logic of young people. How sad. It's like they're saying, throw away common sense and use your feelings. How sad. These platforms, they tend to exaggerate issues to capture attention, making it all about feelings without driving into the full context or providing, neutral arguments. They don't do that. Instead, they foster a deeper understanding that is all biased. It's all brainwashing. These outlets, they prioritize sound bites and quick judgments. That's all they do, making it easy for kids to form opinions that feel valid at the moment but lack substance or depth. It's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. The world we now live in is crazy. To sum up, the preaching of the gospel of Jesus Christ is an immensely positive and impactful act. It brings about personal transformation, spreads love, justice, hope, and truth. It aligns with God's commands, ladies and gentlemen. It offers eternal meaning, fills those who hear it with deep joy. Ultimately, it's the most precious gift humanity can receive, creating lasting change in both individuals and communities, reflecting God's heart and His purpose for the world, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click on the next one. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye for now.